Ghana's Minister for Finance and chairperson of the V20 Group, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, has rallied African nations to join forces in an initiative to accelerate carbon credit production on the continent. The call came during the Africa Climate Summit that took place from 4 to 6 September 2023. Addressing a large assembly of delegates, Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, on behalf of Mr. Ofori-Atta, underscored the climate crisis urgency and the need for Africa to play a more significant role in voluntary carbon markets. He said that the statistics are undeniable, that Africa possesses immense potential for nature-based solutions, yet only mere 2% of this potential transformed into carbon credits. This, he said, is a call to action, an opportunity that must be seized to mitigate the impact of climate change and propel the continent toward a greener and more resilient future. The ambitious 40% credits supply target set for 2030 represents a monumental leap from the current 2% utilization rate. Mr. Ofori-Atta highlighted a strategic roadmap encompassing policy reforms, capacity building, technology adoption, and innovative financing mechanisms to realize this vision. Ghana and other African nations pledge to develop and implement progressive policies and regulations which create an enabling environment for carbon credit projects. These policies will incentivize sustainable land management, reforestation, and afforestation, thereby fostering the growth of nature-based solutions across the continent. The Vulnerable 20 Group of Ministers of Finance of the Climate Vulnerable Forum is a dedicated cooperation initiative of economies systematically susceptible to climate change. Managing Director of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited, Edwin Provençal, has said the company plans to raise about 10 billion cedis in revenue for the 2023 financial year. According to him, this target could be achieved due to an increase in sales, which is likely driven by demand for affordable fuel products on the Ghanaian market and landlocked countries in the north such as Mali and Burkina Faso. Speaking on the sidelines of APSCA Award ceremony with Kenyan media, the BOST MD said the company also plans to double its pipeline network through a public-private partnership module. Edwin Provençal said that the firm is planning to partner with private investors to build about 360 kilometers additional pipeline network at the cost of $400 million. Meanwhile, at the company's recently held annual general meeting in Accra, board chairman for BOST, Echo Hackman, noted that the net profit margin of the company had increased from 161 million Ghana cedis in 2021 to 342 million cedis in 2022. The African Development Bank has unveiled the Africa Climate Risk Insurance Facility for Adaptation, which is aimed at insulating countries against catastrophic weather-related events. The facility, which will be hosted by the bank, expands its pioneering Africa Disaster Risk Insurance Program into a facility that would develop insurance to help African countries, specifically their agriculture sectors, prepare for, adapt, and build resilience against the adverse effects of climate change, such as flooding and drought. The African Development Bank Group President, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, announced the new adaptation facility on Tuesday, 6 September, at a side event held at the Africa Climate Summit in Nairobi. He said it would raise an initial $1 billion of concessionary high-risk capital and grants to catalyze the development and uptake of insurance solutions to help countries, businesses, and communities adapt to climate change. The facility, he added, is the bank's effort to scale up support to insure countries and households against extreme weather patterns. Urgewald, a campaign group that tracks global fossil fuel finance, has indicated that although the World Bank is pumping record funding into climate financing, it is also directing billions into fossil fuel projects. The group said that in 2022, the World Bank supplied about $3.7 billion in loans and capital to expedite imports and export that likely ended up funding oil and gas developments. The source of these funds, it said, was the International Finance Corporation, the arm of the bank that works with the private sector. Heike Meinhardt, the author of the research, warned that this would more than triple the current annual level of fossil fuel finance attributed to the World Bank and cast serious doubts on the bank's claims of alignment with the Paris Climate Agreement. However, a spokesperson for the IFC, denying the group's report, stated that the group grossly overstated the IFC's support for fossil fuels and stressed that the IFC only permits oil and gas on a limited basis for distribution purposes only, contingent on development impact, and that too only in countries where energy security is critical.
Visit www.energyghanamagazine.com for more on these stories. Energy Brief is proudly brought to you by Airport View Hotel. Energy Ghana TV. Local in focus, global in perspective.